Today I'm going to a restaurant here in Northeast China and I'm going to be ordering absolutely whatever the waiter recommends.
It's like eating a cloud. Hello and welcome to another Chinese food adventure. I am in Changchun. It's a city in China's northeastern region, a region also known as Dongbei. It's a name that literally means northeast. It's a region also known for being very, very cold, as you can probably tell by my demeanor, and the fact that I'm currently sitting in front of a frozen lake. Ooh, it's also very windy, my camera almost fell over. So yeah, in this region, temperatures plummet to usually like below minus 20 degrees. And I remember when I told people that I'd be moving to Dongbei, the first reaction is usually, are you sure? Like, do you know it gets really cold there in winter? Yes, I now know. But I have to say this chilly winter climate definitely has its perks. For one, snow and ice sculptures. I actually visited these snow and ice sculptures for the first time back in 2020 in Harbin. They have a really famous snow and ice sculpture exhibition and it was absolutely breathtaking. These sculptures are so grand, made of snow and ice. I can only imagine how long they would take to construct. Actually, the other day here in Changchun, I saw some men taking slabs of ice from the river. And to lift even just one piece of ice, you needed two men, all their strength, to haul it into the back of the truck.
I actually heard that Changchun has its own version of these ice and snow sculptures, which I'll definitely be checking out at some point this winter.
The other major perk of Dongbei's chilly winter climate is that the food here is just so warming and hearty. In my opinion, it is the epitome of comfort food. I'm talking stews, potatoes in all different forms, juicy, fall off the bone meat with succulent marrow, starch noodles drenched in sesame sauce. And who can forget that one of my favorite Chinese dishes of all time, guo bao rou, is from Dongbei. It's basically this ultra crispy pork covered in sweet and sour sauce. Oh my God, I'm drooling just thinking about it. Anyway, I love Dongbei food, as you can probably tell. And before moving to Dongbei, I would have said I was very familiar with Dongbei cuisine, but after having moved here, I'm realizing that I've only just scratched the surface in terms of the depth and variety that Dongbei food offers. So today I'm getting out of my Dongbei food comfort zone. I'm going to a restaurant. It's called Ba Da Jian and it specializes in classic Dongbei food. And I'm gonna be ordering absolutely whatever the waitstaff recommends. So let's go, let's get this food adventure on the road. Let's also get inside because my hands are half frozen.
So many people have recommended I come and try this restaurant here, so I thought this would be a great opportunity. Opening up this menu, it proved my point about not knowing as much as I thought I did about Dongbei food. It took me at least 6 or 7 pages until I found a dish I'd actually tried before. I really don't know what a lot of these are. It's basically the perfect opportunity to just go with whatever the waiter recommends. 你有什么推荐？这里有什么好吃的？
这个是东北特色杀猪烩菜，东北特色。
还有呢？
这个。
这是什么？
四喜丸子。
For this one, you've got the option to get a half serve, which is always a good option when ordering food in Dongbei because portion sizes are usually massive. And for our last dish of the day, a local Dongbei style dessert that I never knew existed. It's called 雪衣豆沙, which translates as red bean wearing snow. 谢谢. So he has recommended me the following dishes. First is this one here that's looking very intriguing. It's called 杀猪烩菜, and 杀猪 literally means kill the pig. Kill the pig dish, and I guess it's kind of appropriate because it looks like there's a lot of pig in this dish, including, you know, cuts of pork here. This is pork blood around the outside here. I'm interested to see how that's going to come out. They look like little balls of pork blood there. And honestly, I will never cease to be amazed how value for money Dongbei dishes are. Like this dish here looks absolutely massive, right? What's the price? 39 renminbi. Speak of the devil, here's the dish now. Man, that came out quickly. So on top there looks like we've got a mix of lean and fatty pork, and it's surrounded by that pork blood, which is round because it's actually sliced blood sausage, which they make here on the premises. And the casing is, you guessed it, it's pork intestine. So I guess kill the pig really is an appropriate name for this dish. It comes with this little sauce that I've been instructed. You can dip the pork inside or the blood inside. It's just a oh, very garlicky. It's a garlic sauce. Garlic soy sauce. Whoa, those are massive. With that, our second dish arrived, the meatballs. All I can say is I'm glad I got a half portion. Would you check out the size of these pork balls? I didn't realize they were going to be quite so big. They are literally bigger than my fist. He told me that this would be a half portion, but there's nothing half looking about this portion. These have got to be the biggest pork balls that I've ever seen in my life. And I'm interested to see whether it's meat the whole way through. Is there something inside? What's the flavor going on there? I've decided to go in first with my meatballs here because this dish over here is just bubbling away nicely and that's going to be hot for a while. So let's get stuck into this while they're still nice and warm. Am I the only one with a dirty mind? What do you guys think of when you see this dish? Anyway, let's cut into it. I feel like it would be quite interesting if there was nothing inside and it was just pork all the way through. I say that because one massive meatball is only 18 renminbi. That's $250 US. I mean, it must be filled with something, right? Oh, okay, interesting. It seems to be just pork all the way through. Wow, it looks very tender inside there. I have to say this is very unexpected. I thought for the size of these meatballs, there's no way that it's not filled with something to like fill it up. But that's just pork all the way through, absolutely massive. I feel like this could feed a family of 4. That's why I love Dongbei. The prices are cheap and the portions are big. 2 things that I really enjoy when it comes to a dish. Anyway, let's try this. I've got a piece of that meatball absolutely smothered in that starchy sauce there. You can see it dripping down. Oh, it smells so savory. I don't even need to chew that pork ball. It's just so tender. It just absolutely dissolves in my mouth when I eat it. Look at this. I didn't chew, I just pushed it around with my tongue and then it went down. It may have looked like I was chewing though, but I promise you, I wasn't. You don't need to chew this dish. Great for people who maybe don't have teeth or have don't like to chew in general or don't have time. You know, busy people, you can't be chewing all day. This is the dish for you. One thing I do have to say is that sauce is quite salty. It's very hearty and delicious and definitely the first mouthful, it hits you in the face. But after the second, third, fourth mouthful, it does get a bit much. So for that reason, I've ordered me some rice here. So let's try that all together. Some of that meatball, some rice, that juice. Oh. Perfect. I feel like in China, it's often rice to the rescue. You know, whenever you get confronted with maybe a dish that's a little bit salty or a little bit spicy, a little bit umami, a little bit overwhelming on the palate, rice is always the best option to like make it a bit more digestible and easy to eat more of. So rice, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of people everywhere. Thank you for being you. If you love rice, like this video. Thanks. Okay, so continuing on our porky lunchtime food adventure, we've got this dish here, which is literally just pork. Pork, and more pork. On top here, we've got some more leaner pieces of pork. Underneath, we've got some pork belly, fattier pieces of pork. And around the sides here, we've got these balls of pork blood. Also looks like underneath here, we have some pickled cabbage. It's another feature of Dongbei cuisine, by the way. A lot of pickled foods, a lot of cabbage, because historically, these colder areas of China, you're not gonna have fresh fruits and vegetables in the winter because it's just so cold. So the vegetables that you often see in Dongbei cuisine are the vegetables that can be easily frozen or preserved. For example, cabbage, corn. So for that reason, you'll see a lot of corn, cabbage, and pickled dishes in Dongbei cuisine because that's just what people had to make do with. And you know, it's funny how cuisines can come to be and are shaped by regional influences and geography and climate. And Dongbei is a prime example of that. Yeah. Okay, enough of me yapping on. Let's try some of that pickled cabbage. Ooh, very sour. Very, very sour. Pickly. So first things first, I'm gonna go in for a piece of this pork belly. I'm gonna dip it in this garlicky soy sauce like he recommended. Ooh. Yum. Oh, that sauce is so good. So delicious because that pork is just so tender. And you may think that this would be really fatty tasting because you've got all of that fat on there, but it just melts in your mouth and it doesn't have that fatty taste or sensation in my mouth. It just feels super just tender and nice and yum. Let's try some of that leaner part of pork here. Dip that in there. The lean pork pieces are nice, but I have to say I prefer this fatty pork belly. It just has like a nicer mouthfeel for me, and I do have to admit I'm a sucker for a piece of fatty pork. But let's move on to this pork blood around the side here. And I've mentioned in previous videos that pork blood isn't my favorite variety of animal blood. I prefer duck blood because I feel like it's a bit more subtle. But let's see how this tastes and whether maybe the sourness that comes from those pickled vegetables take away some of that, like that specific taste that pork blood gives off. I'm keen to try. I'm not going to dip it in this because I kind of want to get the original flavor. Let's go. Oh. Got blood all in my teeth.
Yeah, I definitely think that all of that pickled cabbage and that sourness that's coming through in this dish helps to negate that very irony, xingwei taste that you can often find in pork blood. It doesn't have that. It's very tender and quite salty, and yeah, it doesn't have that aftertaste that I'm not a big fan of when it comes to pork blood. It's really, really nice. I think this dish balances out each other very nicely because you've got the sour coming from those pickled veg, you've got the saltiness and the garlickiness from this sauce here, and you've got that lovely tender pork that I'm just such a big fan of, and the blood is really nice. It just really melts in your mouth. Like everything else in this meal, I feel like this meal is the poster child for melting in your mouth.
And let's just keep that ball rolling, shall we? Because our dessert just arrived.
Wow, 这么大。
对，雪衣豆汤。
这个应该怎么吃？直接吃就行，是吧？
My dessert has just arrived. It is,
Yeah, slightly bigger than I was expecting. This dish is absolutely massive. Are you getting me now when I say the portions in Dongbei are absolutely massive? Like, wow. Not good to be a person eating alone in a Dongbei restaurant. I'm a big fan of the name of this dish. It's called 雪衣豆沙, which basically means red bean paste wearing snow. Because I guess what is happening here is it's red bean paste on the inside, and on the outside you have this like, look, it's something that looks like a snowball really. I'm gonna pick one up here. It is so delicate, very soft. You can see it just at the slightest touch, it kind of caves in. And I'm gonna open one up here to see what's on the inside. Or you can see it is quite oily, and you can see that yummy looking red bean paste. Ooh, it smells like a donut. Oh wow. Oh wow. It's like eating a cloud. Can you see that? How soft that texture is there? I've never come across a texture like that before. It's almost like a mixture between a scrambled egg and bread, if you know what I'm saying. Also a slight taste of maple syrup as well. Oh, this is a nice dessert. 想问一下，这个是怎么做的？怎么这么软？
因为它这个所有的这个外边白色，咱们可以看到的这个位置，它都是蛋清鸡蛋的蛋清，
哦，那怪不得。
用筷子，它是用这个筷子直接搅拌打，一直打成型以后。把豆沙裹在里边，然后下油锅炸的。
I guess that makes a lot of sense actually, because it does have a slightly eggy taste to it, and that texture, as I said, it's kind of like scrambled egg mixed with bread. And I just can't believe that before today, I never knew that this dish existed, which is crazy to think because it's just so delicious, and I feel like everyone needs to try it at least once. So if you're in Dongbei, even if you're in China, make a trip here and come here and try this dish and let me know what you think. If you tried it before, are you as enamored with this dish as I am? Like, this is cool stuff. Like, how can something be so soft? I'm still like mind blown by it. This texture is just next level. And actually all of the dishes on my table here today are all dishes that I've never seen, heard of, or tried before. And that's why I love this way of ordering, just listening to whatever the waiter recommends and going with their advice, because it exposes you to new foods that might become favorites. Like, I know I'll be coming back for this again. I think I'm gonna be gaining a few pounds this winter. I think I maybe already have. That's the end of our video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you feel about this kind of style and format of video, ordering what the waiter recommends. I personally really love it, but let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It means the world to me to see your support. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next week, most probably from here in the beautiful Dongbei.